Leaving stock on saturated paddocks during winter months creates pugging, resulting in pasture damage and loss of production. Grant West and his family farm a mix of river flats and hill country in Northland. They've been part of a 2-year demonstration farm project with B+LNZ New Zealand, trying to reduce pugging damage as well as track pasture growth.
Well, it's a 450 hectare standard Northland sheep and beef farm. Broken rolling hill country with a little bit of flat, I guess you'd call us. Heavy clay soils, winter wet, summer dry. We run about 1350 Romney Coopworth ewes, small herd of Angus cross breeding cows, not much, and then we winter about 550 to 600 head of mixed age cattle. And we're sort of adding a bit of Wagyu into the mix with first light feeds as well. This is the Kikuyu farm, and anyone who knows Kikuyu, it grows a heck of a lot during the summer and autumn, and then it grows very little during the winter time. So we need we carry a reasonable amount of stocking rate of big cattle through that autumn period to control it. And then come the winter time, they make a heck of a mess on us. And we've done cage cuts and trials here over the last 2 winters, and we get a 30% reduction in pasture production from one treading event. It's not very nice lying awake at night, listening to the rain on the roof, knowing next morning you're going to go out and find just a big bog hole, and you've got to find somewhere else for them to go. So that's kind of the background of it, I guess. We got invited to be part of the B+LNZ demonstration farm program. Basically, you choose a technology you'd like to try on your farm, and they would back you up with a bit of consultancy and scientific advice and things like that. There's quite a lot of herd homes around the district with dairy farming sort of things, and I've been quite impressed with them. But the cost, I suppose, was always a big issue, and we got quite a few quotes from different providers, and we were really struggling. We were very nearly going to walk away from it because the cost was just too astronomical. And Glenn Taylor from Geico Construction came up to me and said, "Well, look, mate, I think we've got something that might do the trick for you." And I thought, well, and I said basically how much I really wanted to spend. He said, "Oh, yeah, I think we can do that." $105,000 for the building itself. As you see, it's a plastic roof, rolled limestone or glued limestone floor, gravel locked floor with a concrete storage bunker. So $125,000 all up, including all the metal, diggers, labour, you name it. It's kind of what we spent. So it's about $1,000 an hour. We could have gone cheaper options, I suppose, but I wanted something that is compliant and future-proof, I guess. It's a dry scrape system, they call it. I'm amazed just how dry it does stay. Probably the wettest it gets is on a foggy morning when the fog gets in, but we're basically dealing with 10% of the effluent we would be if we allowed rainfall into the pit. Now, if we can keep it dry, we're dealing with 90% less volume. So, and that was a big thing for us. We scrape it with a tractor-mounted fronting loader scraper about once a week. Yeah, it varies a bit. And that's designed so in the springtime we can roll that up. A digger can take it out and put it into a muck spreader, and then we can spread it. Last year we used it as a base fertiliser for the maize, but it could go into pasture or whatever else. We farm some Wagyus here for First Light Foods. This is a producer group, and the Wagyu itself is only part of the story. It's about the First Light story is really about taking ownership of the supply chain and looking for some increased value in it, getting some increased value back. And I guess the Wagyus are part of this. We have to be careful how much we use the barn with the Wagyus, because the protocol we farm them under, they have to be grass-fed and spend most of their time out on pasture. So we certainly endeavour to do that, but when it's very, very wet, well, they have to be in here to protect the environment, really, protect our pastures and things like that. Basically, if we can winter these better, keep their growth rates up during the winter, they'll get better marbling, and better marbling is what we get paid on. With the cage trials we've done over the past 2 winters, we're losing 30% in a single pugging event. And it's a lot of pasture. You add up, we basically, even though we've got nearly half our stock units as sheep, we're still doing basically 30% damage to 30% of the farm. And it might not sound that much, but when you add it up in dry matter terms, it's quite a lot. It's about 2 tonne per affected hectare. So it's a reasonable amount of money. It makes feeding them and allocating feed easier, better, and the feed bounces back. On-off grazing is brilliant. A lot of guys do it up here, a lot of dairy farmers do it, and they're capable of eating their daily fill in 3 hours. So you can get them out there, get them, eat their daily fill and get them off the pasture, so they're not standing on it for 24 hours. That much less damage, and the pasture responds and recovers that much quicker. So we have to do. That's where I'm going to head with this a lot more. because it's still our cheapest source of feed, but we have to invest some more in limestone, more lanes, smaller paddock sizes maybe, and things like that. I'm very happy with it. It makes a heck of a big difference to how I can run the farm in the winter. I'm not pinching grass or land off other stock classes to, if I've made a mess on the first round with the big cattle, I'm not pinching grass off something else to feed to them, so not compromising other stock classes. And the big thing we've learned is I think we still need to maximise our use of pasture during the winter time. Whenever at all possible, we need to be out grazing because it is still the cheapest feed we've got. And conserve, even though we can conserve pasture and maize silage here for about 17 to 20 cents a kilogram of dry matter, it's still quite a lot of money. And if we can water that down with something that's worth something lower than 10, well then that's good. Everyone's got to do their own sort of analysis on it, I think. I can't tell anyone to go out and do it yet because we're not far enough in. This is only our second winter. We're still trialling things. We had steers in it all last winter. This year we've got a mixture of steers and bulls, so we'll see how bulls go. The moment has gone really well. I'm very happy with it, but there's a fair bit of water to go under the bridge yet before I can say, yep, man, we're making some good coin out of this, go out and do it, because it is a significant amount of capital to invest in a business that's already, farming is already a capital-intensive business. So, but really happy with it, really happy.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.